back. Hello and welcome to Tea Break Film Reviews, where we drink tea and talk about films. My name's Michelle and I'm here with fellow film buff Victoria, and today we are going to discuss Triangle of Sadness, directed by Ruben Östlund and nominated for 3 Academy Awards this year, including Best Picture. Interestingly, it also won the prestigious Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival last year. It follows a couple who are both models as they attend an eventful cruise for the super rich. Now, this film is divided into 3 very distinct sections, so my first question to you is, what did you think about that decision?
Just like with I think everything everywhere all at once felt longer because they split it up into those 3 sections and those 3 distinct parts. It made it feel like a triple feature, same as this movie. It should be a triple feature.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot of content. Now, Rahul,
Yeah.
what film are you talking about? Are you talking about Triangle of Sadness? Because that's bizarre. Why did so many people want to watch this film in cinemas? I would be fascinated as to what the answer to that is.
Yeah, what got the hype? What hyped about this movie?
Yeah. What did you think of the individual sections then? In terms of why they are divided into 3, did it work? Did it not work?
I mean, I guess it worked. It's hard to say that it couldn't when it's so straightforward, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one, it felt like, oh, this could be a normal movie. Then the second one, it's like, oh, it's getting a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the second part, it really amps up.
Yes.
Yeah. I
It.
did think the whole situation with the old couple
Mm-hmm.
was pretty funny, and that's the only time I'll say this in this way.
It
Oh.
was bizarrely. It felt very disconnected. That's what I would say about these
Yeah,
3 parts.
absolutely. Yeah, that's a wonderful way to put it.
And I struggle with films where they have chapters like this that, apart from the characters, don't have much to do with one another. Now, I appreciate that seeing the super rich at home on their yacht, being awful, and then seeing them on the island is a great contrast. But then
Yeah.
why should I care about the couple at the start? Equally, seeing the couple go from arguing about who should pay for food to arguing about who should sleep with this woman on the island in order to get food and breadsticks and whatever else ridiculous things that
Yeah.
that she has control over. She is, by the way, my favorite character in this. But that would then lead me to question, why do I care about what they're doing on this yacht? Because they aren't the super rich. They aren't the
Yeah.
ridiculous parts of that cruise. So it just felt very unclear as to who I should care about and why when it just kept
Yeah.
switching. It
It was
just
hard
kept
to get an
switching direction.
emotional. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
didn't really get emotionally attached to the main characters at all. It felt very disconnected. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
disconnected as you said. Uh, I thought there were some funny parts. Like it was just like subtle funny. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the satire,
Uh,
isn't it? It's
yeah.
uncomfortably funny.
Yeah. Well, I love satire,
Me too.
but the doors closing, oh, it was wonderful. I love that when they were fighting and the elevator doors kept closing.
Yes. That's the
I
thing. It often felt like the most successful moments of satire were the least exaggerated parts.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
that was funny because of the situation because they couldn't finish their conversation, the elevator doors kept closing, you know?
Yeah.
That's what's funny in that situation. Or they were in the cab and the cab driver was looking at them.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's there's comedy in the normal everyday things,
Mm. Yeah.
including like when the ship is sorry, when the yacht is, you know, in when it's in the storm and it's moving around and people are just trying to have their dinner.
Mm.
And obviously that becomes absolutely insanely ridiculous. But at the start, I thought it's just interesting to see people being people, feeling seasick
Yeah.
and not able to enjoy their
Yeah.
incredibly expensive meal. Very fancy, super bougie, gourmet,
Right.
whatever. Like, you can't enjoy it. The sea has other plans for you. You know, great. I love
Right.
that. But then when they continued and everybody was stuck in the toilet, there was overflowing things, it just
Yeah.
became almost I
Like it went on for too long.
yes, it became ridiculous to the point where I didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that hurts
Yeah.
it quite a lot. It seems
Yeah, I
excessive
agree.
in like it was trying to get the same point over to the audience again and again and again. It's like I'm not stupid,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we got it like 2 minutes ago.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
equally on the island, when oh, let me just check her name. When on the island, when Abigail takes over and she has this, she dominates and she puts all the rules down, great. But then we see her
Mm.
enacting that power in the same way over and over again. And I get it. I got it from the start. I got it from the first moment where she is it the fish? She gets the fish. Or no, it was the clams or something she collected. I
Okay.
forgot what she collected. But as soon as she picked up the food for everyone at the start and divided it 50-50 between her and the rest of the 50 as the other people, I could understand her character. I found her
Yeah.
entertaining and I loved how she commanded the situation. But then
Yeah.
after that, I didn't need to see it again and again. It just was
Yeah.
so unforgiving in terms of treating its audience with, I want to say respect, but I did feel like I was being patronized by the amount of stuff being shown.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I just wouldn't get it. But
I
I
absolutely
did get
agree.
it. I
By
got
the
it.
time that the sewage was overflowing is the
Mm-hmm.
time that they should have cut it.
Yes.
Like they could have made both the scenes fit,
Mm-hmm.
just cut them down
And when the
at that
captain
point.
talks with the Russian oligarch, so long. So long.
Yeah.
It was just unbearable. Just unbearable.
I liked the Russian oligarch.
I liked his character,
Yeah,
yes.
I liked his character.
But already with his table
I sell shit.
conversation, I
King
understood.
of shit.
So good. Yeah, he had some great lines. And I
Yeah.
and that's the biggest problem, which we also had with Tar, is that there seems to be these great conversations in these films that
Mhm.
are just surrounded by what's it called? Like cannon fodder. Just
Yeah.
unnecessary padding. Just give me the conversations and don't mess around in the middle with
Yeah.
things that do not matter. I don't know.
I agree.
It's a
Uh when we first meet the old couple, I
yes,
fell in love with them.
absolutely.
I love them. I love them so much.
And I was reading an article about how the director views the rich, and it says that
Mhm.
it wasn't just a case of ridiculing them, but also trying to point out the fact that a lot of people who are in these situations are just very smart and they found a way to make money, or it was sort of a it it was the result of their business. Like the plan was not to become super rich. It happened because of the smart way in which they approached business. And I did appreciate that some of the people on this yacht were not used to being this rich or had come into it
Yeah.
with a sense of humor like that Russian guy. Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then you get this couple who feel like they were absolutely born into money
Yeah.
and they have a
Yeah.
very
They
different
deserve
perspective on
it.
life. So I did
Yeah.
appreciate having the contrast of different types of rich. Because then we
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
get the young couple, and the young couple being the influencers. They're the
Hey,
cool kids, they're the new kids
yeah,
on the
free
block.
ticket. Boo, boo,
That's
boo.
how they make their money. Like they're weird in
Yep.
comparison to everyone else. That's the newest way to make money. So
Yeah.
I appreciated that it wasn't a one-sided view. And
Yeah.
especially since the maid becomes the most powerful person on the island, it
Yep.
gives great perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. It really takes the time with the power dynamics.
Yes, the power dynamics explored, great. But
Yeah.
by
Absolutely.
the end, I just wasn't sure what the film wanted me to get out of it, you know? With the
Yeah.
final shot being whether Abigail's gonna hit Yaya on the head or not with that rock. But why?
Yeah.
Why is that the question? What was the intention? I never really understood the intention of this film.
I think it's just karma.
I suppose. Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's
Uh
difficult. It feels messy
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in more
And
ways than
like
one.
really, really. Like everybody's sick.
hmm The characters literally
Uh
are in a mess,
yeah.
but the film itself feels messy.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh I wrote down old lady trying to talk to the one woman into the hot tub.
Yes, uncomfortable, but a great conversation. That was
Yeah.
so uncomfortable to watch,
Yeah.
but great. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was just so, just, it's so well written because it was so she was so persistent.
Yeah.
A great scene,
Absolutely.
and then
Absolutely.
I understand how ridiculous is it. I understood how ridiculous it was to then ask the whole crew to go swimming. She has that
Yeah.
power. I get it.
Yeah.
But then you get the dinner scene, and once again we're back to what is the purpose here?
Everyone's throwing up.
At times
Everyone.
you feel the the power dynamics, like you said, but what is the
Everybody's pretty
point?
equal while they're shitting themselves, though. Let's be clear.
That's true, that's true. It is the more we discuss this, the more I appreciate how it puts things into perspective. But once again, I think as with many films we've discussed, it is too long
Yeah.
because it gets
Yeah.
its point across, then it keeps going.
They could have cut 20 minutes off this movie,
At
probably.
least, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. The Oh, I think I saw a continuity error.
Go on.
Actually, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm like 90%. The billionaire with the white shirt, he
Mhm.
throws up all over himself. Next scene, his shirt's white. Yeah.
There
Yeah,
was
so I did see a continuity error.
I think they
Is at
struggled with those things.
1:18:26.
Oh wow, you really, really saw a continuity.
Yeah.
You have noted it down. No,
Yep.
the biggest one was the woman who couldn't use one of her arms. Her arms swapped. At the dinner table, it was I think the right, and then on the island they make it clear that it's the left. and I noticed
Okay.
it, and I thought I was going crazy, and then I read that no, that's correct.
Okay, I didn't notice that one. That's a
They
good
didn't
catch.
they didn't get that right. We are nitpicking, of course, but it's
Yeah.
it's kind of fun to
I mean,
nitpick.
with how long this movie is, let us have this.
They let us.
You know.
The problem is they let us do this. We had the time
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there was not enough happening.
That it's just it was the heavy metal cleaning montage was pretty dope. Um, oh, heavy metal cleaning montage while everyone is defecating and vomiting all over themselves. And they popped a fuse.
Yep.
Then pirates show up. Like it ramps up real quick.
It does.
And then it kind of stays there with its foot on the gas for a while.
But then it didn't open with that energy. I just
No.
don't know how to properly describe this film because with those
It's like two different
sections,
movies.
it really is. Because that couple alone and the conversations they were having in that first section, they're a film by themselves. Their
Yeah.
relationship, how they view each other, how they view social media, and how he was trying so hard to discuss equality with his girlfriend, and she
Yeah.
just straight over her head. Like she was
Yeah.
not. That was really interesting because I love that conversation. I have it
Mhm.
frequently, and I like to see it from that perspective. But in terms of the
Yeah.
rest of the film, I would have been happy to start the film with everybody on the yacht,
Yeah.
and then just
Absolutely.
see them on the yacht, and then
Yeah.
because
We could have had that
pirates is the
conversation
ramp
on the
up.
yacht.
Yeah, yeah. 100. Actually, you're right. We could 100% have seen that on the yacht. They didn't need to have
Mm-hmm.
that conversation
Nope. They could have
elsewhere.
just based this off of the yacht, honestly.
Yeah,
Um, and I mean, they had a budget of 15.6 million.
that's pretty good. They actually did a lot with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Though they could have done more if they just did it on the boat, I feel like.
Mm. I
Or
think
would that have just made costs go up?
it depends what they wanted to do, but
True, it depends on how long shooting was, I guess.
I guess there feels like that scene where he's getting cast, where they're trying to look for models.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it's based on the director's wife is a photographer, a fashion photographer, and she's literally experienced this in auditions. And I appreciate that it's very interesting, and it is where the film gets its name from. The triangle of
Yeah.
sadness being this bit on your face.
Yeah.
But
Brow.
that felt irrelevant
Yeah.
after the fact. Once again, just two different films.
Yeah.
The ramp up was entertaining, the satire entertaining,
Yeah. I
but
was sad it was the old couple that had to do the ramp up, though.
yeah.
It was pretty funny how it happened, though.
Hmm.
So I
It
feel
is
on that.
surprising, Rahul, that people, because it got Oscar nominated, people wanted to see it. I mean, frankly, I wouldn't have watched it if it wasn't nominated.
Yeah. So,
I might have because it won
I
Cannes.
probably would have, but it would have been years down the line.
Yeah, I don't know if I. The thing is, from the trailer, because I don't really.
I didn't watch the trailer. Is the trailer like
It's
normal?
about the model, and it
Okay.
opens with the model, and then it gets to the other stuff. But it mainly opens with the model, and I thought I just don't
Okay.
care about this person, this character,
Yeah.
not for me.
Yeah.
So, and then I was like, oh, it's getting so much attention, it must be good. It's not that it was bad, but it's not what I expected. And
Yeah.
not that that is bad, but it's hard to expect anything with so much random stuff going on.
Yeah.
Um, but certainly, it's interesting to see the power of the nomination.
Yeah. Absolutely.
on what is otherwise, would you say, a niche film? Like, how you couldn't throw this in with
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that.
No. It's not a mainstream.
No.
Um,
Satire is quite
but
difficult to sell unless it's, like Monty
yeah.
Python or something like that.
Yeah.
But then,
Hmm.
I don't know, have you seen The Menu?
Mm, no,
Now, I
I
think
don't think so.
if you love satire, I think you'd really enjoy The Menu. I put
Okay.
that on my top 10 of the year,
Okay.
specifically
Yeah.
because it's a very tightly paced satire that stays very focused on the food industry specifically to make a point through that.
I started watching it. I just never finished it. Yeah, I'll have
And
to go finish it.
in comparison
Absolutely.
to this, I don't understand why this has more merit than that in terms of the same themes, but the lack of focus here baffles me.
Yeah.
Now, I would be really
Yeah.
interested in hearing what you think as a comparison, because satire is always popular, but I feel like it's particularly popular considering what kinds of films we've had this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Uh
it's just surprising what gets noticed and what doesn't,
yeah. I
frankly.
I really wanted to enjoy this movie, but I felt myself like dragging through it solely because they could have cut off 20 minutes of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the jokes when they happened, it was the right time. It was like the right way to do it. Just lasted too long.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was just like they were just beating you up while you're down, pretty much.
I think that's an excellent summary. I feel the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, you kind of feel beat up after this movie, just trying to process it.
Yeah.
Just trying to process the end of the second act is hell.
Yeah.
But if you do like satire, like there are some good jokes. I didn't like sit there and laugh. I didn't laugh and he and haw at it.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, I wanted to. Like I wanted that. I wanted it to be that funny, but mm-mm,
It
I
wasn't
wouldn't.
that
I wouldn't put it.
satisfying. No, you're right.
No,
I
the
wanted to
characters
like
were
it.
satisfying.
Yes, the characters
Yeah.
were. And like we said, the individual quirks, great.
Yeah.
I'm not
Like the
laughing out
writing
loud,
wasn't
but
bad.
I appreciated these characters. Except,
Yeah.
frankly, the captain, who never
Yeah.
really felt fully formed to me.
It was just Woody Harrelson. That's
It
all. They
was
just put Woody Harrelson. They're
drunk
like,
in this film.
yeah,
That's it. That's his
that's
that's
they
the
just
only
kind of threw him
character.
in.
Yeah, that's the only character that felt like he was missing the rest of what where's the rest of him? Is his
Yeah.
character a drunk? Is that it?
Yeah, it felt very like the most you got out of him was he hated cheeseburger and fries.
Yes.
And that's the most personable that you got.
That's it.
He's a drunk
He
and he
didn't
eats
need the rest of the
burgers.
scenes. Frankly, they didn't need any of the other scenes with him. If he just
Yeah.
if he had stayed in that room for the whole time and only come out to say that cheeseburger line, I would have been absolutely happy. That's
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. So the lady or the pirates show up
Yeah.
and the lady picks it up and she's like, "Oh, I think it's ours." But
That is such a good line, damn it. I want to like this film.
yeah,
Like you
yeah, like
said. Ugh.
they had such good moments in this film. They just the there was just too much time. They give themselves too much time for this movie, like too much time. They just needed to cut it down.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, um, I love how they used all of their flares when the animals were freaking out on the island the first night. Uh, that's like that's like one of my worst fears. Like I get stuck on an island. I'm with these people. And we have this equipment, and then animals start going, and then they shoot off this equipment.
No,
It's horrifying.
100% people are idiots. I don't think anybody I think in a lot of these situations in films, people act way more rationally than they would.
Yeah.
So I did like that these people
Yeah,
didn't,
it was wonderful.
but
It was wonderful.
still, I do.
Because
Abigail's
you know there
great.
is someone.
Yeah,
There's someone that would. Uh
it's
yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, Abigail with the pretzels and everything is
And the Russian man taking the jewelry off his wife.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so interesting because at that moment the money means absolutely nothing.
Yep. But he's still but like yeah, like I would love to think that would be for sentimental reasons.
You'd hope so, right?
But also, yeah.
Also, probably
Also
not.
never really yeah.
Yeah. So it
Uh
is super the commentary on society is on point. It's pretty dire and yes, I appreciated it. But only now talking to you am I getting those moments out of the
yeah.
film, extracting them by myself is too tiring. you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
trying to think of this film after having watched it
Mhm.
is I don't feel moved to do it.
Yeah.
Just talking about women talking before,
Mhm.
I do want to look back at those conversations. I do want to see what it was about those
Yeah.
lines that I found so engaging. But I don't
Yeah.
feel like doing that with this film.
No, it isn't much rewatchability. It's it's a one hit wonder. That sounds very crass. It's just like all these jokes are just gonna hit once, really.
Yeah.
And that on top of the movie just being so long
Mm-hmm.
really really digs its claws into you.
Yes.
Um it's crazy that they find a donkey on the island.
Yep. I mean, you don't.
Also,
You then we figure out that it's actually this fancy resort, so it's not that.
poor
It's crazy at the
donkey,
time, but yeah,
right?
yeah. Honestly, it's
I love
sick.
how they didn't ask. Like,
If you
huh.
if you can't tell from our voices, this film is just tiring. It's just
Yeah,
I watched
yeah,
it
it
ages
is.
ago, and I'm tired talking about it. Just from the
Yeah,
way I don't, I yeah. Ban of all the Oscar nominations, I'm not recommending this one.
yeah. I don't see this
Mm.
winning
No, you're right. The watchability
anything.
is
Yeah,
very
it's at
difficult.
one. Watchability is at one.
I think what bonds us as reviewers here is that we really don't like films being too long. And some people live for
Just keep
that.
your
Some
pace.
people
Just
are like, give me 4 hours of content, but it's just
I'm
not
totally fine
worth it.
with that. I'm totally fine with give. I have watched halfway through a 6 hour documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will sit through these things. Give me the content and I will watch it, but make sure it's in a palatable length. Or not even length, just palatable scenes. Like we could have had the conversation of the casting on boat, I feel like.
Yes.
Could have had it set up as like a Zoom thing, whatever. I don't
Yes.
care about that more. I felt like that. I know it's describing what the movie is, and like on the credits we said but it's just it was
Everything that happens to that couple at the start could have been on the yacht.
yeah
And if
yeah
we
all
can
those
think of these
conversations
solutions, then why did no one making this think
yeah.
that this would be a better way to present this story?
Who watched this in post and said that all of this dead air, like it felt like dead air, even though I know that it probably wasn't. I
Yeah.
can't think of anything that really happened during the time that made it not dead air.
Mm-hmm.
Really, like oh, the captain was sick for a few scenes when she had to walk to his door. She had to walk to the door, knock on it, say like, "Oh, are you okay?" And he's like, "No, I'm sick." That's just like wasting our time. We didn't need that. If he's not actually sick and he goes to the dinner, like, does he even vomit? I don't
That's just
remember Woody Harrelson vomiting.
no, he doesn't. He's got sea legs, that man.
Then why
He's
are you
fine.
there?
It's
I
like you
assumed it
said,
was
it's
food
just
poisoning.
well,
But
Rahul's asking, do you think the screenplay was better or the direction that elevated this movie? I don't know. Interestingly, this is the second Palme d'Or for this director. But the impression I get from the reviews is that the first film he made that got the Palme d'Or was far better paced than this. This was called The Square, which I have not
okay.
seen. But it's about an exhibit. It's already very focused, and I'd be curious to see the difference in these two films from this
Yeah.
director because I can't quite tell if he doesn't like it's not say Wes Anderson or someone, we're not talking about a director that is in everyday conversations. This is someone you search for. So I don't think
Yeah.
people are seeing it for that. I think since it won Cannes, that is what made it, that is what pushed it. It's very much the auteur indie market that this is being put through. And looking at the stuff he's directed before, he's done a lot that was not, well, a lot that was Swedish. He's done 4 feature films in English, I believe. Maybe not. Maybe the Square, no, the Square seems to be in English as well. But basically, it's not someone that you're gonna watch like we watched The Fablemans because it's Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
That's not what's attracting you to this. I think it's just word of mouth. And it's an interesting one to be spread around because of what it's done on the festival circuit.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that it's not either of the options. It's not the screenplay and it's not the director. I think it is word of mouth. It's the experience people must have had at Cannes, and it shows the power of that film
Yeah.
festival in pushing films to the forefront. Films that don't necessarily represent the best, but it's the best for that panel of critics.
Yeah. I mean, assuming everybody was a little sauced up by the time they watched this movie, they wouldn't have noticed the time negligence in it. I
No,
feel like.
that's
But I
interesting.
feel like it was like the guy walking on the beach with the watches. Like, you have a peddler literally trying to sell you watches on an isolated island. Like, that's a wonderful joke. But
Yes.
by the time it happens, you're just so tired.
I'm so tired. I just couldn't care less at that point. And I love the fact that they found this. There's this ridiculous resort for people to relax
Yeah,
on, and
that was
that's how they
hilarious.
they end up. But that's hilarious.
It's
But
and
oh my
it
god, the time it
like
takes
how?
to make these
Yeah.
points, the way
Yeah.
they're extending is stretched. It's like you're struggling to make a perfect loaf of bread
Yep.
because you've just absolutely kneaded the flipping heck out of it. There's no rise, there's no. You
Also, I
understand.
love that it's
You
with
get
the
my
person that
analogy.
can't say anything that the guy comes up. Does anybody else see the guy with peddling watches?
No, it's just her. It's
Yeah,
there
like
are so many great moments.
so good,
But I just thought
so
I
good.
don't do are we
Yeah,
impatient? Is that our problem? Are we just
I
not
don't think so.
maybe we're not
Uh,
the
my
audience for this.
my last note is overall thoughts on it. Ew, very vapid.
You know what?
It had good jokes. It had like the writing wasn't bad, the cinematography wasn't bad, the score was boring.
Yep.
uh but like it's looking at it by like the good scenes, this should have been a good movie. This shouldn't have. It shouldn't
Yep.
have felt like a boxing match.
Yep.
And you're fighting with yourself to try and get through this by the time everybody's shitting themselves.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think that's a great summary of the experience of this film, and wanting to like it is not enough when you're not given enough in return.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah.
So I suppose I shall say thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed our discussion of Triangle of Sadness, and we hope to see you next time. Bye.
Ooh.